Hey friends, welcome to today's live stream. So a couple of weeks ago, we made a beat using the P6. We've been making a lot of beats on the P6, but we used the SP404 for input effects, basically sending some guitar through and all that type of stuff. And so today what I wanted to do is flip the ins and outs and show why I am going to finish this track on the SP404. I got a lot of questions in the community posts about that live stream. How I would finish the track, and I think it's important to talk about these kinds of things. It's the fun part's making the beat, right? But when it comes to creating the final version of the track, there's some good reasons to kind of experiment with different samplers, DAWs, anything like that. So I'm going to talk kind of why I'm using this combination as we go through. But basically, to start, we're going to have to sample the sounds into the SP. Now, to save on time, I started that. I have the guitars here, and I just chopped it into two because there was a bit of a pop on that second chord. So I wanted to just fix that with a little envelope. And then we've got, it takes a second, but the granular synth that we made, and then the bass. So the only one we're going to sample in the live stream is the drums, because that's basically the whole track that we've got. And then we might add some parts. We might get kind of nerdy and try to make transition effects with the sound generator with its noise things, and I'm contemplating maybe that groove function. I feel like that groove function is pretty underrated for getting weird background sounds and stuff. But anyways, that brings us to the first reason I'm going to use the SP over the P6 to finish the beat. And that's because we can unlock basically multiple effects if we wanted to. I think we could have 6, because we can get the 1 effect on the P6 as it's going in, the input effect, and then the 4 bus effects. Now, I don't think we're going to need that many. I really only want a couple for these drums. Here's the drums. What we're going to do is sample those in. Now, I want a couple of different sounds. I like these drums, but these are the stock drums, and I didn't have time to swap out the drums and then deal with the mix and stuff. So we're going to offset that a little bit by adding a little 404 to, if you can hear, there's a lot of low end in that kick, but we can kind of tweak it with the frequency on 404. You could do isolator, anything like that as well. I'm going to also just add a little bit of noise, and the wow and flutter doesn't really matter, but we're just going to have that on there. And then the big one that we're going to do is cassette. And this is going to just add some nice drive. Let's say maybe, 21 on the drive, and then we'll do 32 on the wow and flutter. Again, with drums, it's not that big a deal, but I like having just the wow and flutter, even if it's just a placebo effect on drums for me. So what we're going to do is go to record. We've got it set to the right BPM. This is at 138. So we can just do 4 measures, because that's what this song is, or this loop is. And we'll put it on 10. And I know I usually put drums 13 to 16, and we're going to do that. You'll see. But first we're going to do this. I've got it set to wait, so all we have to do is hit play. And it should, I didn't start it on the click, but it should do the proper loop. Let's see. Now listen to the difference in the drums. That's it as it was on the P6. It's a little grittier. I gotta find out why it always does that balloon thing on these live streams. It's a little grittier though. That's from those effects we did, and we could have added a couple more. Maybe isolator would be nice. 303 compressor would be cool too. But I like it at that. And then I am gonna set this to bus 2, just like the bass, because I want to put some reverb on bus 1. But before we do that, I'm just gonna double check if there's anything else we need to do. I think we've got all the sounds that we need from the P6. So basically the P6 is out now. We can just focus solely on the SP. And the reason I'm doing this, I like building patterns on the P6. And I'd love to hear anybody in the chat, or if you're watching this back and you want to comment, if you've got the P6, how are you finding it for finishing beats, right? Because I love building it. The sequencer is a lot easier to use compared to like the SP404. There's a lot more nuance you can get with like the step sequences, the step changes, parameter edits, all that type of stuff. But when it comes to jamming, 1, there's no pattern chain. 2, it's really kind of annoying to use these to switch patterns. It can kind of happen by accident. And then you can, like we've done, do pad mutes, you know, like just bring sounds back in, like we've got on, we can just bring things back. And that's cool, and it works really well, but if you're trying to play live on top of it, which in the end, I'm probably going to grab the Jazz Master and play some guitar on top of it, the pad mutes get a little hard, you know, if you're trying to play. So with the SP, you can pattern chain, which is huge. But also, I just like building variety in TR Rec mode. You know, you can just build one pattern, which we're going to do, and then just copy and paste it, remove parts, and then make edits and things like that. So I think that is the first thing that we're going to do, is just build our first pattern. So we'll go to here. It's already at 138. So all we have to do is really just kind of play these things in. So we'll put quantize on. We'll do 4 bars because that's what the track's on. And we'll do a grid of 4. And we'll fix that with the reverb. I think that 2 needs to move. Actually, it should be fine. Add in that granular. Get the bass. Perfect. Okay, so that's our basic beat, or our track. What I want to do is get that Hadu is so funny with the mod depth, like just cranked, but you can get a really nice reverb if you set the mod depth down to a much lower, more manageable amount. All right, so from there we've got our basic track, right? And again, the heavy lifting was already done, but now we're going to get into kind of the arrangement idea. So before we do that, one thing I'm thinking is we've just got a straight drum loop, right? But a lot of times when you want to add some more ear candy and interesting changes to a track when you're using loops, you want to do dropouts on the drums. So like maybe the drums don't hit until the 2nd bar, or maybe they end in the 4th bar and you don't have any to kind of transition into the next section or the next build or something like that. So what I think we're going to do to kind of emulate that is chop this drum up. So let's go and trigger it, and then we'll go to chop. And if we go to auto mark, I think we can make a time division of 4, and that should chop it up pretty much perfectly. That should work. Now we might get some clicks and pops and stuff, but I don't mind. We can always add a little attack and things like that. So we'll go to assign to pad, and we're just going to put these right here. And that's another thing. Another strength here of working on the SP is the auto chop that you can edit. So I could have moved those around if I needed to and tweak them. The chop on here, while really convenient, you just go, it can chop any pad and it's all on the same pad. The chop here is a lot more nuanced. And then from there, I'm just listening to which one. So what the other thing I want to do is make a couple of just like drum one hits or one shots. So I think we'll take this guy and move it here. No, actually we'll put it to 9, and then I'm gonna chop this one up to get a couple of, that's just tripping. There we go. Let's go chop. And I wonder if we can use the transient. I'm gonna see. Let's go maybe medium. It's so funny, I find the middle transient versus the hard is like massively different. Let's go here and see what it does. That's decent enough. Yeah, that kind of gets us all of the sounds that we need. So we're going to go assign to pad. Okay, that should work. All right, let's see what we got. That's perfect. Now, the reason I'm thinking that is sometimes when we want to change a part, if we drop out the drums, right, we can then add our own fills now. That should work really well. The other thing I want to do before we get back to the patterns is just check out what happens if we take this track, put it back over here. This is kind of our added section, our percussion, all that. I'm going to just throw the groove on here. So if we go to pitch speed, choose that and hit roll, we could get this interesting little groove function that is supposed to add humanization. I think it's based off of the, oh man, is it 505, 606, 555, one of those SPs. But let's turn it on. Hear what it does? That's actually pretty, that has a really interesting groove, but it's that snare that I'm thinking we might be able to capture. So I'm actually, I know we're getting pretty like nerdy for lack of a better word, but I'm going to do some, I mean, this is what I want to do. Like when you're finishing a track, it's all about the sound design and the arrangement, and it's going to come together in the end. What we're doing here though is just finding sounds that we can add in. I actually really like that. That might be cool for like a B section on its own, but what I'm going to do from here though is actually isolate certain sounds to just make little like transition ideas. I'm just looking for, oh yeah, isolators right here. Okay, let's resample that. And we need to go to 138. Actually, we got to choose that first. 138, 4 measures. So I don't even know if we'll end up using any of these sounds. If nothing else, they'll be up for Solar Sailor members as samples. You'll get all these samples. The guitars and stuff are from the previous live stream, so you can check those out in the, I think, October sample pack. But I'll put all of these random sounds we're making up in the November sample pack. Okay, now the other one I want to do, I want to get that lo-fi back. And let's try Crusher. I like that hi-hat. If nothing else, we're getting some pretty cool sounds that we can use in other tracks. But I think some of these might work. Oh, we don't want to record yet. Hold on. Let's set this to 138. Okay, perfect. So we have our 3 versions of this now. The normal, in quotes, this lo-fi and isolator one, and then that crazy one. Let's turn that on a loop real quick. Because I'm thinking the one thing we didn't do in that version of the track on the P6 is have like a B section. There might be something there we can do. It depends kind of how much time we've got and all that, but we'll see from there. I did post a poll. I don't know why it ended. Sorry, but you're welcome to chime in the chat. How do you finish a beat? Do you move loops into a DAW? Do you jam with track mutes, which is what we did for this song in the last version? Sequence patterns on hardware, like what we're doing today, or other? And if it's other, which nobody yet voted for, wanted to hear why. But it's interesting. It's pretty split. 40 for DAW, 40 for track mutes, and 20% for sequencing on hardware. Typically, I like to move things to the DAW when I'm done because you get all that flexibility. But we might even do that for part 3 of this. We'll see, because I think there's a lot we could do either with stem splitting or something like that. But anyways, let's get back to it. So I don't want to get too far off the mark working on this B section idea, but I'm just thinking we might. Well, let's do these patterns first. I'm getting too far ahead of myself. So what we're going to do here is, this is our main track. All good. Everything's in place there. What we're going to do, though, is start just kind of thinking about our sequencing. So we're going to start on 5. We're going to choose just the guitars. Yeah, just the guitars, and we'll need that hot out back. There we go. Now I don't like all that attack, so we might take off that attack. We don't want that. Where is it? Here on envelope. Yeah, that's a lot of attack. Let's go to something a little bit less and see. So you hear that click? It's kind of just an issue of the sound source. So we're gonna just have to roll with it. The reverb should help it a little bit. We might be able to tweak it as well with a little more ADSR. From there, we're gonna bring in, I think, maybe just the drums, I'm thinking. So what I'm doing is I'm taking that main pattern that has all of the ideas at like the final build-up, right? The crescendo, chorus, whatever you want to call it. And then I'm choosing just the parts that I want as the song goes. So I'm thinking, okay, the next thing we're going to want to do is introduce the drums. And I'm thinking the bass can kind of bring in the chorus. Because I also have to think we are going to add a guitar at the end of it, like a lead guitar on top. So you can always kind of, this is just the first take, right? We're going to figure it out as we go. But so I'm thinking do that. Maybe we'll do, what I like to do is make the main ones on one line, and then I make all the fills and transitions and stuff on the next one. So here we're going to move that, and we're going to just add in, if we set to, let's say maybe 8, looser quantize on that. And maybe a hi-hat. Okay, let's see how that goes. We'll transition into when the drums come in. There we go. So we can always tweak it later. This is kind of our sketch pad, right? We're sketching out the map of the track. So we're gonna go from 5 to 9, and we can also add other effects or something. Okay, perfect. Now we're going to get into the part where we're going to need to build those dropouts. So I'm going to make 2 different versions actually, and we can even probably just use TR rec mode for this. So we will do that. So what I'm going to do is, I can't remember if in TR rec mode you can control gate. So from there, I think what we'll do is we're just going to shut off gate on these, because it should be fine for them to play. Oh, these are the wrong, that's what, I hit the wrong ones. But that's fine with the gate off. This is what we want the gate off on. Because we're gonna go over here. Oh, I copied it with the drums on it. Let's delete that. We don't want the drums because we're going to, where did it all go? That's bizarre. Let's go here, hit remain, there we go. Okay, no drums. And what we're gonna do is, the first version we'll do, if we hit, what is it, can't we go shift record? Yeah, so there we go. Okay, so we're gonna go sub pad to hold, choose this one, and on the first one, that's gonna go there, that's gonna go on 2, that's gonna go on 3, and that's gonna go on 4. Jose's in the chat. What's going on, Jose? Welcome. Okay, so I'm gonna now copy that over to here, because we're gonna make 2 different versions of the dropout, and we're gonna do the same when we add the bass, which actually it might have been easier if we would have done it with that master version, but that's okay. We'll just live record the bass on top, no problem. So what we're gonna do is go back into TR rec mode, and we're gonna choose this last one, and we're gonna take it off. So it should have a total drop. There it is. There's the dropout. Benjamin just joined the channel members. Welcome, Benjamin. Thank you very much. Okay, so now we're going to do the other dropout. So I did the dropout at the end of this loop. And we could do something cool with like maybe a hi-hat fill or something, which is probably what we'll do, but I'm gonna get back to this dropout first. We'll finish this dropout. So if you hit a pattern, you can just hit shift record and you get right into TR rec mode. So now we're gonna drop out the first one. I like those more for not as a transition, but as kind of adding variety when you're looping. Like if you're staying on a part, you have this one. After doing this one, right, it just adds a little more variety. Like you'll hear it once we get back to one. And it, like I said, the reason we did these chops is we can add some kind of fills and variability in there as well. I don't know how much we'll do because I want to keep this track kind of simple, honestly. But what we are going to do is move this over here because this is where we're going to bring in the bass. And like I said, since I didn't actually, here's what we'll do. I know what we're going to do. This will go here because it's fine if we keep the drums as they are when the bass comes in. But we'll copy this one for, actually, you know what? Let's do it easier. We're just going to live record both of these versions with the bass on it. We'll have to do that little granular engine sound too, but that's totally fine. So we'll go here. This one drops out the end. So actually it doesn't matter because we're just going to record bass on top. So we're going to choose this one, get out of TR rec mode, which is by hitting remain, go to quarter. And I'm wondering, I got to listen to the original pattern because I'm wondering if the guitar is supposed to be a little early and we're playing it kind of late. Because it sounds a little wonky to me. It's going to be fine either way, but I'm wondering like when the bass comes in and stuff, if that's going to have an effect on it. It should be all right. And we got to add this granular, so let's let it loop back over. Okay, now we got to do that again here. I could have hit that at the same time too, but it's all right. Perfect. Okay, so now we've got kind of our build. The only other thing I'm going to want to do is think about a B section. We were kind of getting ahead of ourselves and trying a few things. But I really like that crazy sound. I don't know if it's going to amount to anything besides, oh yeah, the one thing I wanted to do is I wanted to get a couple of sounds out of this. So we're going to go here. I'm just looking at kind of what sounds we've got, and then we're going to see. I like that. The reverb from the snare, that could be something. All right, we're just going to let that be. Let's hear it in the pattern playing. Okay, cool. See, so I just kind of want some background sound. So ear candy is what I'm thinking. And again, we actually might have wanted to do that a little at the start because now we'll have to throw that in kind of by hand, like recording it in, or maybe TR rec mode could work. Just hearing what else we've got. Oh, okay. Right at the end there. Something right around there, I think, was what I was hearing. Hold on. Let's zoom in. I know that's crazy. Let's see, what's here? That might be something, actually. That could be something. Let's drop the volume a bit. This is where I wish we had the per pad filters of the P6, because I would just take out some high end. Let's see. Yeah, that could work. Just drop the volume a little more. I like that. I'm just thinking maybe as some background sounds or something. Let's see. That could work. Leads nicely into, yeah. Okay, but I was talking about a B section. I'm kind of getting ahead of myself here. This time change really got me. Let me know if anybody else is feeling kind of wonky from that time change and all that. But yeah, I'm thinking this little synth, I'm going to copy it and put it over here. We've got that granular engine synth. You can barely see it, so I'm going to normalize it, which will bring the volume up. And then we can kind of see the waveform a little bit better. There it is. There it is. Okay, so let's take that just first note. Let it ring out too. Because I know for the chord we were doing, if we go to just chromatic, it should just be, yeah, because we were just dropping it from, I'm trying to think, we were in drop B, so I think it was B to, was that A? I'm just thinking maybe there's something for like a B section. I don't know though. Typically, I think maybe just pairing it back to something just like bass and let's try that actually. Hold on, I have an idea. Let's go here and we're gonna copy and just do just the drums and the bass. Let's see what happens with that. Do that. Is that gonna, it's not gonna record. Okay, so let's go in, let's record on there, and let's do maybe 8 notes with a little less quantize. That actually will work for a B section, and then I think that might bring us into an even bigger kind of end, right? Let's go here. I almost want to drop out the drums, but I think no, I think we'll just build it and do like a Kodama transition or something. There's one other thing I want to try, like I mentioned at the start, using noise to create kind of an effect, but we'll see if we get there. Okay, so I like what we've got though. Just thinking maybe we build a big section here. I'm gonna put that up there and we'll add that granular back in. We're gonna have to do it again, and that's fine. Here. Okay, now because we got those one shots, what I think we can also do is, and I'm probably going to lower the volume of that synth. I know it's pretty loud. Normalizing just brings it way up. Is that Ace? Says that's smooth. Thank you, thank you. Yeah. All right, let's see. We've got these. what I think we can do is I'm gonna bring that one up, and I'm gonna up the pitch so it stands out a little bit from the one that's actually in the track. And not chromatic, let's do... Yeah, let's add that. I like that, and I'm actually we're gonna try, and I'm gonna just copy this real quick. I'm gonna try and not do any quantize on that, and or maybe just like 16 with a very light quantize, just kind of build it, bring it together a little bit. Let's go, where was that, 16. Okay, and then what we should do is think a little bit about panning. If we go, where is that? I totally blank on, there we go. If we hold shift, let's move that one a little bit to the right. I think we had that original hi-hat left. So we'll use this. This is just, I want for this, we've added the snare, right? Or not the snare, the this nice synth, but we're gonna take it down a little bit more. And if we bring, actually, let's add a little envelope to kind of act like a side chain, right? Let's hear it in context. There we go. Okay, so I'm gonna just kind of play through and kind of get my first impression of like where we're going with this track. So I know we go here to this one. We can kind of play with Kodama a little bit. I think we might actually put that granular synth here. Here we should have had the dropout, but we'll go into the B section. Let it go. Okay, I actually like that. The one thing I want to check out is doing a sound, like a transition effect with noise if possible, using Sound Generator. Now, one thing I forgot to mention is I'm planning to add a guitar to this at the end, possibly like as we jam right now, possibly in the next live stream on this track. I may do some more tweaks. It's probably best if you're using hardware. It is very helpful to kind of write out your map, or at least we can do a pattern chain or something and see how it works. But if the first chain you do doesn't work, like, it's nice to reference, okay, what did work, and then build on it. I don't have any pen and paper or anything, and my keyboards are all like way over there, so we may not do that now, but it is something I would recommend doing. I'm curious, for those that voted on that poll, that you sequence your tracks on hardware or even jam with track mutes, do you do some sort of structure, or do you kind of just go with the vibe as you're playing it live? Cresshead's there. What's going on? Welcome. Yeah, I realized today's an off day for the live stream. We usually go on Tuesday, but this Tuesday that just happened and this upcoming one have both been just crazy. Well, is going to be crazy and was crazy. So we have to move them to Friday, but I'll be back to Tuesdays in what, 2 weeks or something. So let's check out. Wow, that is loud. I always forget sound generators just like boom. That's so, look, it's on level 10 and it's just like ridiculously loud. I think noise 1 is the one we're gonna want. And I'm sorry if your eardrums were just like blasted like mine were. We are going to take that though and put that here on 4. And what I want to do is add a long release. And then the other thing we're going to do is copy it and reverse it. Cressett says, I have SP404 and looking at P6, so cool to see both together. Yeah, if you want to check out, I've done some videos using them together too, but the last part of this live stream, 2 weeks ago, the previous live stream on this track, we built the whole track on here just using this for internal effects. And then now we kind of flipped the IO and we moved everything into the SP and we're building on the SP. I really wish they had integration like Koala has with the SP. I'm hoping that's something we see, but who knows. So the other thing that I want to do is take this one, copy it, and then we're going to reverse this. Now, what I'm hoping is this will kind of act as, I'm going to lower the volume a little bit though, like a transition effect. Because I'm thinking like if we do, let's say it's this one. If we go there, or do it in that 3rd bar or 4th bar. Might work as a transition. It's a little loud, so we'll tone that down even further. Let's do maybe 11. I love when I move songs to a DAW, I add tons of ear candy, noise, ocean waves, anything, reverse cymbals, stuff like that, that can work as a transition between these parts, because it sounds decent enough when you do these sort of like transitions. Go from, oh, we'll drop out the drums here and then we'll move to the next part. But if you can do that where you then have some sort of sound effect, like we'll do here, it just adds that little bit more that kind of helps with the variety and things like that. So what I would do is to sequence those into all the parts where we want to do transitions. Basically these that we did the dropouts at the end. And these, I just like having all these options, right? You're just kind of building options from these patterns to just kind of figure out whenever you're jamming, like where you want to go with it. I'm wondering if we want... Yeah, beak, that's exactly what we're doing. Well, for the first part, I'm reading the rest of what you're saying. Yeah, so you're muting and unmuting. Yeah, that's, I just like to do the mutes and unmutes by doing it, basically triggering it as patterns, because I'm going to play live with the guitar. But that's what we did. We moved all these sounds into the SP using the mutes. And now we've got them all as stems. And then we can do like we did, the drums got a nice bump of cassette sim and all that type of stuff. Because you now would get 6 effects by moving into the SP, because you get this effects, you know, whatever effect you want on this bus, and then you get the input effect, and then you get all 4 of these buses. And we haven't even touched bus 3 and 4 yet. So, and yeah, Cress said, red is bus 1, blue is bus 2, to answer your question. When I do live shows or live sets outside and at night and stuff, these just are a little easier. I find these lights are pretty dim when you, like, I film a lot of beats out in like parks and stuff like that for videos on YouTube. So the lights are pretty dim, like out in the sun in California at least. So it helps me just see them a little bit better. For some reason, these colors just kind of work in that way. Psych Rock Vinyl says, still trying to decide if I really need the P6. I have the SP404 MK2, Koala, OP1, and Digitact, but I do enjoy watching you and everyone make jams on it. Well, as you can see, I don't have the OP1. I do a lot with Koala as well, but it's not here because my phone is the camera right now. But I've got the Digit as well. I don't have the 2, but I gotta tell you, like, unless you really need sample rates, the step which you can really do on the Digitact. All the cool step programming that you can do on this, you can do on the Digitact. You may want to wait or get it used or something. It is awesome. I really like making a pattern on there. That's like this whole genesis of this track. We made it on the P6, and then I have my issues with its like pattern sequencing for jamming, so we're moving it back here. But I would definitely like either wait for it used, or if you really want it, I mean, it's only $200. It's an awesome little piece of gear. It's great for portable stuff. Like, I have a 1-year-old, so I can't be in the studio much, but if he's taking a nap or something, I can get a little time just on here, you know, with some headphones and make an idea and then move it into either this, the Digitact, or like the bigger setup. So Psych Rock, I don't know if it answers your question fully. I know it's not exactly a question you're just kind of mentioning, but in my opinion, I don't think it's like necessarily needed given what you have, unless you really want it or there's something about it like the granular engine that you do a lot with. So yeah. Jose says, please help me to turn both the metronome and the count in on the P6. So I have that in my cheat sheet, but I've actually never used the metronome. It's one of the menu things. I can look at it later, Jose. It's in my cheat sheet. The link's in the description if you want to grab that. But I don't like metronomes. I typically just set a kick and then go from there. Beak says, yeah, great workflow. P6 to me is useful for starting a beat because it's got filter, delay, and reverb per pad. Saves time for me rather than resampling with effects on the 404. Dude, you're thinking just like I do. That's exactly why I love this for making the track. You can mix so much better with per pad filters, the sample rates, like the sends. The only thing I cannot stand about the sends here is the way they've routed the bus sends, or the send effects, not the bus, but the send effects are after these effects. So if you're doing a filter and you have a reverb on the snare, the main snare will be filtered, but the reverb's going to be the full snare reverbing. And it's just like ridiculous. Where do we have, I got some more. Anna Motion says, hey everyone, welcome Anna, welcome. Hope you're doing well. Who else we got? Sorry if I'm missing some. There's a lot of chat at the moment. Yeah, Psych Rock, it is nice and portable. It's very helpful in that regard. Crest said, regarding the 4 bar limit, you can half time it to get 8 bars. Yeah, just like with the Digitact OG, which I have. I don't have the 2. But yeah. All right, let's finish up. I think I'm pretty happy with kind of the layout, but I totally am going to, like, this is where I would need to map it out. But I think we've got a good idea, a good build. We can use Kodama as a kind of transition effect filter. So what I will do is set those. By the way, just Kodama is an awesome delay for performances because you can sync it to the BPM. But what I love is the send. Let me play something. Once you lower the send, it fades out gently. I just love that for like nice transitions. It works really well. Like. Yeah, that'll work. Okay, so I think we need to go from 7 to 4 before we go to the B section. That fade out part. Yeah, one more from Psych Rock. Good points on the per pad stuff, guys. I really wish the 404 would let you just bake in your effects similar to Koala instead of having to resample. Someone mentioned, and see, I always use Marcus Looper, but you could use Skip Back to bake things in. Like for Sound Generator, when I was covering all that, those synth recipes with Sound Generator, you could do that. I always forget to set it to Skip Back. I just have the looper because I use that much more. But that is something you could try. Chat is going crazy. I do want to answer Jose's question, but I want to get back to the beats. Jose says, how's the Digitact? I've been thinking about getting an OG. No previous Electron experience. I've got a playlist all about the Digitact if you want to check it out on the channel. Like my opinion and my beat making with it. I think it's awesome. I'd say I'm like, I've had it for a while, but I haven't been focusing solely on using it. But I'm like, I know probably 60% of its functionality, and that 60% I can like make whole tracks, finish tracks, do all that. But there's a lot of stuff still I feel like I could learn. Just I bought it right before my son was born, and then that was, you know, no time to be in the studio. So yeah. But the OG is awesome. I got a video talking about why it's still amazing despite the Mark II, and it's really cool. And you can get it for pretty cheap used, I believe, because of that version 2. So if you're thinking about it, I would check it out. There's a lot you can do with it. It has its limitations, but there's a lot of really cool things that you can do with it. And I just love like the machines, the sample machines that they've added, and then the overbridge, which in not Sunday I've got a P6 video out, but next week I'll have an overbridge workflow video all about how I use it to make beats, because that's the best of both worlds. You can work with a DAW-less setup and then move everything into the DAW as separate audio tracks, because all 8 of the sample tracks are a separate audio track with overbridge, and then you can like add effects to individual sounds and get side, like it's awesome. Sidechain, all that stuff. What else we got? Psych rock, skip back, yeah. It's just having the looping points right. Yeah, that's true. Bake would be so killer, but yeah. I mean, skip back's probably the closest we get. Hopefully, like I'd love if they would add what they've added on this, but then they're going to cannibalize it in terms of market share. Like per pad filters would be so nice. I'm still hoping we get that in at least sidechain or something, but we'll see. Animotion says, I will be getting my 404 next week to complement my modular system. That's a really cool combo. Yeah, a lot you can do with the SP404, and it does have MIDI out and MIDI in and all that stuff. So if you're looking for like MIDI functionality, there's a lot there. All right, I'm just thinking, oh yeah, I want to add some transition effects. So we'll go here. Where is that white noise? Hold on, I gotta find it. I was jumping the gun. We gotta find, this is the white noise out. This is the white noise buildup. Okay, so let's go. This one is gonna be the fade out. So yeah, we'll build it and we'll go to 4. I'm just adding these transition sounds. Perfect. Okay, now we got to add it to here. Perfect. Okay, and then these are our dropouts at the start, so we'll do these. Perfect, and then we got to do it on this one. Okay, and then I'm just thinking, let me put that there. This one can have, that's gonna have the white noise, so we don't need it on there. I'm just wondering if we want any other sounds or something. We do have those little loops we made. I'm wondering if that might fit anywhere else. Maybe here. See how that goes. Yeah, I like that. That one though is a little wonky. Let's go into there, go here, put it on 9. Yeah, okay, perfect. So we added a little more percussion, and then, oh, we need to put it on this one. So I'm actually gonna delete that guy, not copy, delete, and then go here. Let's add that, get out of TR rec mode. Okay, so we're just kind of fleshing out these ideas with some of the sounds that we made earlier. Just adding a little more variety. Something that's really convenient when you're working in a DAW, like if you finished your ideas, stemmed it out and put it in a DAW, or even if you just jam, like one thing I like to do is do this final jam, record it into a DAW, and then you can add additional ear candy, white noise, ocean sound, you know, whatever transition effects and stuff, just like if you match the BPM. So everything's done DAW-less, but you can just kind of add some ear candy, additional sounds, even MIDI if you want. Last thing I want to do, well, we already have a pad. I was thinking we might want like a sound generator, arpeggio or something. This is a blank project, so I don't have any of my usual sound generator sounds. Just gonna tweak almost wonder if Kodama might be the better one. I like that Kodama actually better than the reverb. All right, so I think we're good. Let's see. So if we do, let's run a simple pattern chain. I'm gonna run through it and then see how it sounds. And then I think we're done, and we might just add some guitar. Oh, I know what we need to do though. Bus 3 and 4. Let's get some cassette sim to do our little special sauce for this. I'm gonna actually add a little age as well. And I'll show you a A-B comparison. I love using bus 3 and 4 as a sort of like mastering effect. It just adds a nice bit. And one thing, I always use compressor, and typically I just set it at 0 across the board. But someone pointed out, and they're right, it's really just doing a gain boost. It's not actually acting as a compressor in that way. An easy one you could do for a compressor, if you don't want to like mess with all the settings and stuff, is, I think I went the wrong way, but go to where is it, 303 sim, because you get that one knob compressor that's just going to make it like massive. I think we'll give that a shot though. I don't want any noise, but we can also get a little extra wow and flutter, and then we'll compress it like crazy. Let's see, this might be pretty loud, so I'm going to lower the volume just a little. So it's just going to glue everything together. We can just go crazy with the compressor, and it can act like a side chain because the kick is super loud. That's perfect. Okay, so let me just that Kodama ringing out. Let me show you without it. Not bad. But let's turn it on. Hear that? Now, obviously, it's making it much louder, which psychoacoustically is going to make it sound better. But it is doing some really interesting things. We're getting added wow and flutter, so it's kind of warping it a little bit, giving it that type of tape vibe. The cassette sim's adding some drive, so we're kind of bumping everything, getting some harmonics just with the distortion. And then the 303 is adding that classic compressor from like the 303. So we're getting some volume changes and things like that. So yeah, nice bit of change. So that's bus 3 and 4. Like I said, compressor works really well, and just zeros across will get you a really nice loud sound. But if you want to do compression, you want to mess with those settings, or just use the 303 one knob compressor and bump it up. All right, so I'm going to test out now a pattern chain. So we're going to press hold, and that does pattern chaining, which you can't do on the P6. Again, another reason why I don't want to finish the song on here. I want to finish it here. So we're going to do just the guitar, if it wants to go. Oh, you don't have to hold it, actually, sorry. Then we'll do the guitar with that drum fill, and then we'll do the part there. And then I'm just thinking how many times we want to do it. This is that dropout. We may want to add some variety into that track. Then we're going to go into this guy, then the one that fades out at the end, then into the chorus. We're going to do that twice. Then we're going to go into the B section twice. And then let's say that. That should be good. Let's hear what that sounds like. All right, while that's running, I'm going to answer some questions while I hopefully can listen through. Psychrock says, 303 Effect is so good. Have you tried Dr. Vibe on iOS? I have. Sketch Audio, I interviewed them on my podcast channel, Audionautic, and they sent me it to check out. And I did, on this channel, a comparison between the 303 and 404 sim on the SP and all of the options on Dr. Vibe. I love Dr. Vibe. I throw stuff between it like all the time. Listen to that compression, just like making it sound massive. Okay, this is going to be that transition into the chorus. That sounds good. That snare has so much reverb thanks to that compression. I almost want that chorus. Did we choose? Where did, oh, I see. Okay. I almost want that chorus to be extended to 4. Yeah, I think we can we clear out? Yeah, there we go. Okay, perfect. So we can do, no, it's, here we go. So I want, yeah, 4 2 more times, then 8 2 times, and then we end on that. And then maybe we just kind of wind it down with, yeah, 2 more of the bass and synth, and then it would loop into the guitar. Psych Rock says, oh dang, I actually watched that. No worries at all, man. There's a sea of noise out there, so I get it, but I appreciate you bringing it up, and I appreciate you watching the video for sure. All right, that I think is going to be the jam, so I'm going to make sure external input is off, because we're going to grab my guitar, and I think we'll just do a little jam. Now, I'm curious to hear from all of you. This is basically part 2 of finishing this track. I'm contemplating doing a part 3 where we throw a stem of it, or the 2 track, into the DAW, and do additional things like I was talking about with further ear candy, maybe adding some MIDI parts, doing changes. What I like to do is you can even cut the track you've done, like if you wanted to extend a part or something, you can just chop it up and extend it. So if that's something that interests you, let me know in the chat. And then also, if you're watching this back, let me know in the comments. And then also, if you want to comment what you like to do when it comes to finishing a track, if you use an SP or the P6, how do you finish tracks? Because I'm really curious how people are finishing tracks in the P6. There's a lot of different ways to do it, but like me personally, I find moving it into another piece of gear or into the DAW just gives you so much more flexibility. Let me grab the guitar though. I might have to take the headphones off. It's behind me. And I don't actually have a pick, which is gonna not be fun. They're in my guitar case, because I was doing some lessons, but that's all right. We'll just do some finger picking, and sorry about the shake. Here we go. Okay, so we've got the general idea. Let's turn on, see. Okay, that thing's just breaking up like crazy. Let's get on an amp sim. That should work. Cresshead says, I think that's question. External sequencing the P6. Could you use the Digitac to sequence drum pads, a sample melodic line, a granular synth via MIDI? Yes, you can. And that's something I'm planning to do very, very soon. I think in a live stream. I've already got how to link the Digitac to the SP, and it's very similar. I think just some of the MIDI channels are different. I have a video on that. I can link it if you want me to when the video's over. But yeah. Well, sorry, I was reading another chat. But yeah, it can do all of that. You can sequence all of these. Now, the Digitac, each of these MIDI tracks, I think you can see the Digitac in the camera, they can only do 4 voice polyphony, which you definitely have more than that polyphony-wise with the P6. It's nowhere near the 32 voice polyphony of this. I want to say it's 8 or 16. If somebody knows, let me know. But I've got a video with showing how to do all the MIDI connection. You got to have, I don't know if you can see it all the way over here, but this little MIDI to TRS, that's what you need for the SP, and you got to have it for this as well. But with that, it's pretty easy to do. I will do a full live stream with those two. It's coming up. I've got a couple more planned, but that is coming. All right, couple more chats before, because this is, I love hearing all of this about how everyone's using it. Beatbeak says that P6 manual, is that I made or that Roland made? Because I have the cheat sheet. I think if that's what you're referring to, awesome. It says it's dope. Printed it out onto a small book, stapled it, and keep it in my case. If you're talking about my cheat sheet, that's awesome. Yeah, I really want to make like a physical version, but the way I made it, the limitation is I think 13 pages or something. So I don't know if that works. And then Crescent says, "Cool, thanks. No worries, man. Let me know. Like I said, we'll do one. But if you want to see that link, I can send you it." Or put it in the description after. Jose says, I send everything to the OG 404, same with the P6 once finished. Are you doing that classic compressor or 404 vinyl sim that you send it through, Jose. Because I see a lot of people doing that. Before the P6 came out, I was so close to buying an OG 404. I still want to get one, because you all know I love 404s, but it was the sample rate stuff and then that compressor that made me want to get it. But this had the sample rate and then those per step things that just sold me on it. And Beak says, the one that I made, recommend it. Awesome, man. That means a lot. Thank you. I'm glad it's helping. Now, we got to... This guitar just sounds like it's like breaking apart. And I don't know why that is. Sounds... Maybe that's that 303 in cassette. Let's see. Okay, gotta do a little stuff too. That drive is crazy. I think since we've got a lot of cassette sim drive, we don't need a ton. That should work. Okay, I think that's good. All right, let's run that. Let me just play it through real quick. It's still super distorted, but I need it to stand. Yeah, I don't know what is going on with it's like if I gotta up it, but then I guess it's just everything's too loud compared to the guitar. All right, well, we'll just, I'll tell you what, we will lower the cassette sim drive a little bit. 14's a lot actually, so we'll drop that a little bit. Jose says, I do. Sorry, Jose, I don't know what is that for the MIDI, Digitac MIDI video that you want linked? I don't know. Let me know. Actually, oh man, I'm on Top Chat. I apologize. If you guys are sending stuff, let me see. I might have missed a lot of chat, possibly. But yeah, anyways, I switched to live chat. So if I missed anything, let me know. Andrew says, yeah, this thing is not good for live recording use. Are you talking the P6 or the SP? I'm just, it's because I have everything loud in the SP to get the guitar heard. It's basically just like clipping. So we'll just take down the drive a bit, and then in the amp sim, we'll just tone it down a little more, and then I think we'll just have to kind of live with it. That'll work. It probably helps I'm not using a pick, because that would add a little more transient, which will clip. So yeah, let's run through this. We got the pattern chain, and I'm not going to keep this version as the final jam, right? Because I'm just going to throw on the guitar, and yeah, Andrew says, and I'll add some effects and stuff like that for this jam. Andrew says, I have both of them, and I've just been struggling with doing live recordings, so I've just been doing piece by piece. Andrew, what do you mean by live recordings? Like what I'm about to do, like just run the guitar through, or are you trying to record like whole ideas? Let me know. I'm curious. And while I do this jam, if anybody has any questions or anything about the P6, about this workflow, about anything really, you know, anything regarding this, all of that, throw them in while I do this jam, and then we'll have a little bit of a Q&A after, and then I'll have to get going to watch my son. But let's jam through this and just kind of see what we got. So I'm going to set Kodama for bus 2. And I just really quickly need to get out of that. Okay, I'm just checking that Kodama, and that should the guitar. Yeah, we're just gonna have to play real gentle, I think, to not hit that clipper. With that said, let me just test real quick. Yeah, we gotta up that guitar. I suppose I could just drop the volume of everything a little bit. It's all right. All right, I apologize. The guitar is gonna be a little broken up. Oh, that's what it is. If you watched that previous live stream, you'll know that my guitar is having a little bit of an issue with the neck pickup. And I think that's what was actually causing that breaking. And I know it's super hummy. Here, we'll switch to that jazz pickup. That's so much better, yeah. Yeah, that's perfect. All right, I apologize about that. I guess I got to get this guitar fixed, but that's all right. All right, I'm gonna jam this out, and then we'll run through some questions. But yeah, feel free to throw some comments. How you're making beats, let me know. Put it in the chat, and we'll have a little Q&A after. Okay, so let's do this. We'll have the filter. Start with that, and that's the one problem, I guess, that this is the volume, right? Yeah. Okay. Cool. All right, here we go. All right, I think that worked well enough at least. We're gonna call that song there for right now, but I would like to hear if you want to see a part 3 for this track and how I finish it. Sorry, I keep hitting the tripod. Sorry for getting like motion sickness from it. I apologize. But yeah, if you want to see how I would finish this idea fully with the DAW, let me just fix this and we'll be good. Sorry about all the wobbling. Let me know in the chat, in the comments, if you're watching this back. I'm happy to show you kind of how I would take this idea and either throw it in as a 2-track and possibly stem split it, but just kind of finish it, adding more embellishment. I'm actually pretty stoked with that white noise that we used from Sound Generator. I think that really did help with the transitions and give some more kind of ear candy. I think certain parts need to be extended. I need to add a little additional maybe percussion changes, and in those dropouts have some like drum fills, because we made that B section, or we made those drum sounds The volume's off. There we go. We made those one shots from the drums, but we're doing a live stream. I'm really just trying to show you all of the options you basically have with the SP specifically, but with any sampler. If you're taking sounds from something, I mean, this could work if you're just sampling other like things like vinyl or something. You're not stuck with the loop, right? You can take these one shots of things from it. You can add additional effects. But really, I just wanted to finish this P6 track because I just, like, if I'm playing that guitar, it's really hard to do the mutes and all that. And we could get so much more variation. We could have all those little drum fills we did, those white noise sounds, which we made internally, all that type of stuff. So hopefully that shows you a great way to kind of take ideas. Like, that's the P6 for me, is my idea machine. Like, I can use it anywhere, throw stuff into it, make cool sounds with the granular, and then throw that into a more fully fledged sampler, DAW, whatever, and finish it from there. All right, I want to just read through some of the comments, and then we'll go from there. Where did we end off? Let's see. Here we go. Okay, so Jose says, I do use the vinyl sim in the OG 404. Yeah, I heard it's actually kind of different from the Mark II, possibly even the SX. But this was my first SP. I'd love to get that OG someday, though. Let's see, where else? Jose also says, apply it to everything I send to it from different samplers. Yeah, that makes sense. Like, just kind of use it as that final signal chain, right? To kind of like master or something. Andrew says, what I mean regarding that live recordings, I wish it was more like the Boss RC505 looper. If they just integrated the technology into these machines, it would be a flawless piece of hardware. Yeah, we've talked about this in some of the looper videos we've done, and I think the last live stream, or maybe a couple ago, we built a track using the looper, and then I talked about where its limitations happen, because unlike the 505 and all that type of stuff, when you build loops on this, it just keeps building on one layer, and you can only undo and redo whatever the last loop layer is. What I'd wish, and I will keep mentioning it because, I mean, I just hope they'll hear it, or maybe the more people that talk about it, the more likely Roland may add it, is if they could get like 2, 3, 4 layers of overdubs, kind of like the 505 where you get those buttons you can press, and like, if you could have that where this would be your original loop, this would be whatever you add for the second layer, third layer, and then the rest are all on 4 or something. I know there's obviously like memory limitations, but I bet that's at least possible, I would think, and I would hope. Go by Mike says, I've been watching your P6 tutorials and I'm at work, so I'm just watching live. Awesome. Thanks for joining, Mike. Yeah, I made a P6 playlist with all the videos, and I realized I never set it to public. So I only set it publicly recently, but there is a P6 playlist. If you're new to the P6, there's a video that shows a great workflow to get started with without having to know all the crazy button combos. But we talked about it earlier, but I do have cheat sheets for both of these machines if you want something easy to reference and just go through quickly to kind of, you know, there's a lot of weird button combos. Like, I totally forgot to get to that groove function. You got to hit pitch speed, then hit roll. And I was like, I want to use it for this track, but I looked at the cheat sheet. It's all right there. So yeah, that's there. If you want it, the links are in the description. Andrew says, good stuff. Cheers, man. Thank you. Go by Mike says, would love to hear the full track. All right. So I think we have a couple other live streams planned, and I got to throw up some polls for some of those live streams. But I will do that. I'll throw it in a couple of those polls. So keep an eye out on the community page to vote for that one if you want to see this track finished. But I will at some point, even if it doesn't win, cover that, because I really like this song and I think I want to release it. I talked recently in a member video how I'm not really sure how I want to do like music releases anymore in this age of like Spotify bot playlist issues. Like, I've been getting placed on these bot playlists all the time, unbeknownst to me. Like, I don't do any ads, I don't do anything on Spotify, and like, Spotify just keeps making it worse and worse. They're like trying to punish the artists who have no control, but they finally added a playlist reporter for artists, so that's a huge step. But anyways, it's like, I don't know where I'm going with releases at the moment, so I'm kind of holding back and just focusing on YouTube. But it's always the most fun just hanging out with you, making beats live, doing those videos, tutorials and things like that. Crescent says, yeah, it looks like a great sketch pad. The P6 definitely is awesome for that. I think that's its real strength. And I don't have any of the other line, but I know the S1, I believe, is MIDI sync to control every setting on the granular. So if you have an S1 and you have the P6, I would definitely focus on that. And yeah, Crescent, Bandcamp for sure is what I've been focusing on, but I don't know. I mean, I could go into a long discussion about it, but it's like for a lot of people, the biggest demographic of listeners is on Spotify, right? And Bandcamp is amazing, but I think Pandora's box was opened with this idea: pay $10, pay $20, and you get every song in the world at your fingertips, instead of, hey, pay $10 and you get an album. You don't need every single person listening to music, but you know, it's this thing of like where you want to focus your time, effort, and all that. So to your point, Cressette, about Bandcamp, I'm definitely pausing the like single releases, and that's what I mean. I don't know when I'd release this track, because I want to get back to the whole idea of making an album. I love that idea of making an album that's cohesive, it tells a story, and I can work on those tracks for a longer time. And so that for me is what I'm focusing on. I'm working on an album, and like some of these tracks, I build them on here and then do that DAW thing like we're talking about, that like Go By Mike wanted to see the full track. That's, if we do that, that would be probably like an album track for whatever and whenever the next album is. Crescent says, me, I do YouTube and Bandcamp. Yeah, I put my music everywhere. I'm focusing my efforts right now on YouTube, because I think YouTube is the best place. Like, you could have community, like we can have these awesome live streams where we just hang out and we make a beat and then we can talk about stuff like this. All right, Jose asks, what would be a workflow of sketching in the P6 and finishing in another one, like exporting each track to an MPC, for example, and finishing it there? Yeah, I mean, just because I'm using the SP, this workflow would work for anything, even a DAW, MPC. All you have to do is like we did at the start. Jose, I don't remember if you were here at the beginning of the live stream, but if you want or would like to, you can rewind and check it out. I'll leave the live stream up. They're always up for replay. But all I did was just send each sound into the P6 as an individual sample. So like, if you'll see, the guitar was the full loop. I just chopped it because I got some weird popping. And then this is just the granular. So I just recorded in the full 4-bar loop using the set measures, and it was good to go. And then I just rebuilt it using the patterns so that I could have much more granular control over everything. Crescent says, Bandcamp also has a subscribe feature. It does, but see, I'll say a little more, because I want to keep this on the beat making and all that, but the thing with Bandcamp is, if you're doing albums, I don't believe in this like release albums every month, every whatever. I think an album should be special, and I think Spotify is, its thing is like monthly releases, weekly releases, whatever like that. So it's like you're coming to two different demographics, like the Spotify where you need to do this constant, and streaming where you do this constant feed of music, and then you have Bandcamp where I think it's supposed to be something more special, something like an album, an EP, like telling this story. And so I think there's this kind of disconnect between those two. And so I don't know, for me right now, it's like I just want to focus on hanging out, making beats on YouTube, because it's a lot of fun, making music on YouTube, those tutorials. And then I just can kind of separate and not stress about, I have to release something, I've got to release again, and actually take my time and build a piece of art in that like album that I'm working on. So I'm kind of looking at it like this two different things. Like there's making the album, and then there's making just like fun beats and stuff like that, and just jamming and making ambient sounds with the SP and stuff like that on the YouTube channel. What else we got? Jose says, I usually start and finish in the same machine and then sample the whole thing to the OG 404. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that's a great way to do it too. For sure. And then like what I'll do sometimes is I will make a full beat, you know, in like the DAW setup or in one machine, send that 2-track into the DAW and then sync the BPMs. And then I can, if I'm like, oh, this part needs to be longer, I can just chop it, extend it, or remove a part, add filters, add effects, add transitions. So when we do the video where we finish this track in the DAW, I'll show kind of all my secrets for that. Let's see what else we got. Crescent says Spotify is a treadmill. Not interested. Yeah, I get that. It's tough because I think you can reach a lot of ears on Spotify because it's the biggest demographic. But that's the thing. If you want to reach ears, you got to be doing that like monthly release thing and all that. And I don't know. I already do weekly videos and weekly live streams on YouTube. Like that's enough for me. Jose says Bandcamp and that's it. I'd say. Yeah, so my thinking is focus when an album's ready, take my time with it, build something really special, have physicals and all that type of stuff, release it on Bandcamp, but also release it on streaming, and I'd probably do like a kind of singles thing because I'm probably adding some vocals to this one to tell like a story, like I was saying. So I think it's good to be on Spotify, but I'm not going to play its game, right? I don't want to do these monthly releases. Like, I'm going to do it my way, focus on the Bandcamp, and then the Spotify's there. I've seen some people where they release, like if they make an album, they release a 2-track or an EP of maybe just a couple of songs from that album to streaming. So it's kind of like, for, I have to use a business term, but it's like a funnel, right? Like, oh, if you want to hear the rest of the songs, go to the Bandcamp. That's an option too, but I just don't like kind of segmenting in that way. It's just, yeah, it's like, I'm just going to focus on what works and then kind of go from there. But let me know if anybody else has any questions before we go. I think that's pretty much it. I want to thank, I got to go up, it's been a second, but Benjamin for joining the members. I'll be putting up all of the sounds that are new from today's live stream and not from the P6. I'll be putting those up in the November sample pack for Solar Sailor tier on my channel members. We're up to like 12 members now, so it's crazy. I really appreciate everybody who helps support the channel in that. It means a ton, like it means the world. And the P6 cheat sheet is going to get an update soon. The SP one just got a little one. All those links are in the description. Coming up next, though, I've got 6 ways to make the most of the P6. That's on Sunday. And then Friday, we'll be doing another live stream. I totally forgot what we're doing. It might be when I throw a poll up, but I'll have that. So keep your eye on the community posts. I post like polls for what we're doing for live streams. And then that next Sunday, not this coming one, but the next one, all about Overbridge on the Digitac. So Digitac 2 just got Overbridge, and there's so much awesome stuff you can do. We talk about sending a 2-track from your Dallas Jam into the DAW. With Overbridge, you can send all 8 of the MIDI track or audio tracks, and then 1 of the MIDI stuff, and you get so much flexibility with that. So lots of really cool stuff is coming up on the channel, but yeah, I think that's about it. We already did the jam. This was nice to just talk. And I actually really appreciate running through all of the kind of Spotify, Bandcamp talk, Cresshead, and everybody else, Jose, because, yeah, it's been something that's been on my mind lately, like figuring out where to go next. I feel like I'm at this kind of crossroads. And I think a lot of artists are like that. On my podcast, Audionautic, we talk with a lot of artists. And it's a weird time to be making music, right? Like, there's tons of people making music. New songs are getting put out all the time. On Spotify, on Bandcamp. It's like, I don't know, it's like, how do you get heard, I guess? And not that that necessarily is the end all be all of music making, but, you know, if you're trying to do this for a living or something like that, it does matter. And it's an interesting time for all of that. So I'd love to hear if you have release plans, like how you plan to release a track, an album, how you're doing that. I think it's really cool. Like, one thing I love about the SP community, we all kind of share our knowledge, right? And that's how we learn. But I think this is something important too, because it's fun to make the beats, but when it comes time to release them, it's good to know kind of all of our options and things like that. But with that, I think we're pretty much done. It's been awesome hanging out with you. I apologize about the different day for the live stream. We'll get back to Tuesdays in about 2 weeks. But if you like the Friday-Sunday split of live stream and release, let me know in the chat. But with that, I think we'll call it. I don't think I have any other tracks on this project, do I? We could go to maybe an old project and see what we got, but I think we'll just call it there. Let me see if I got anything cool on the P6 to end on that's new. Oh, I don't have the P6 connected anymore. So anyways, we'll call it there. Thanks for watching. I'll see you on Sunday for the P6 video, and then next Friday for the live stream. And like I said, community poll will come up. If you want to see something specific, vote on that. But and if you have any ideas for what you want to see, like more SP only beat making drums with sound generator, those are all things I'm thinking about. Put them in the comments, and I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.